you done now?
Here is minute 35.
We all had a motive.
Great. We'll all go to the chair.
Maybe it wasn't one of us. Well, who else could it have been? Who else is in the house? Only the cook. The cook! She's not here. I didn't do it! Somebody help me, please. Somebody help me, please! Don't touch it! That's evident.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Clue the Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue, 1 minute at a time. My name is Brad Gilmore, also known as The Boat. You know me from your television screens if you are in the Houston area or the Houston airwaves.
Hey, you know what? This airs in a couple weeks. I hope you're really sure that you're still on.
I might have been canceled. They might have
Very optimistic.
Yeah. And actually canceled, not like the canceled of today's times.
Don't say anything controversial.
I will do my best.
Brad Gilmore.
That is Jeff Smith.
Not known for anything.
No, he is the
Clue the Movie Podcast.
Clue the Movie, Who Done It, a Clue documentary, and Clue the Movie podcast.
Too, yeah. That's true.
Yes. How like what do you rate your own documentary?
What do you mean?
Like out of 100? You're probably more critical than most.
Sure. Well, it's tricky because I'm in it a lot and I hate myself. So that's kind of the cringe moments. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's probably going to come up a lot. This is my therapy, this podcast. I like it. I think it's great. I think I'm selling it so well. Take two. You know what? It's the best Clue documentary you'll ever see.
Well, you know what? I think that you're definitely in contention.
That's why it's called the Clue documentary, not a Clue documentary.
We're about to jump into minute 35. But before we do, I have a question for you that just came to my mind. How do we end this podcast? Like, does it end at minute 97 and that's it? Or do we have some sort of grand finale? I feel like our Cluvians should weigh in on this, and I feel like you should weigh in on it too because you're half owner of this thing.
Yeah. Well, how many endings are we going to have, first of all?
Whoa.
Yeah. Because that was something I had to deal with on the documentary too. I went back and forth on that. There was an edit of the documentary where I did have 3 endings. Now there's kind of like 2, spoiler alert. But there used to be 3 because the documentary used to end. The ending was going to be a screening of Clue at the Frida Cinema, which is a theater in Santa Ana. And it was going to get all the Clue fans together in one place, and it was going to be very exciting. And the very first ending, totally set up, totally fake. I went and shot it on a different day, and pretended like nobody came. And so it was the bummer ending. And so the last shot was me in my car by myself in the parking lot saying, I can't believe nobody came. I guess Clue is a failure after all. What a waste of time this was. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you'll never hear from me again. And then it cut to black, and then it said, that's how it could have happened, or how about this? And then the next one was the real one where people did show up, and it was fine, and it was kind of cutesy. And then the third one was just all the actors saying their final words on the movie.
I love that.
But yeah, maybe I should have kept that. But it was just kind of a little cutesy. And by the end, like the documentary is actually longer than Clue. So in the end, it was better just to wrap it up and be on our way. Because even the documentary ends with an animated recreation of the 4th ending, because no one has found the 4th ending actual footage anywhere. So it was recreated through animation. And even the credits roll over that, because it's just, let's get out of here.
Let's hurry this some gun up.
Yeah, we've overstayed our welcome.
We've seen it.
So, unlike Spike Lee, I know when to finish a movie.
Oh,
Spike Lee movies have, or Lord of the Rings, famously, Return of the King has a lot of endings.
or like maybe even a Judd Apatow movie of like you could cut 30 minutes out of this.
He knows how to end them. It's just there's a lot of stuff in the middle that, like Funny People is my favorite
Just
example of that.
thinking
Funny
about it.
People is a fine movie that goes on 45 minutes. Like when he decides to steal the original Hulk's wife, we were fine. I was happy with the cancer story and his relationship with Jonah Hill, and that was enough.
And you're referring to Eric Bana, not Bill Bixby.
Yes, not Bill Bixby. Yeah, you're right. Original for our young, youthful audience. Actually, their original Hulk is probably Edward Norton.
Right.
Yeah. Or maybe they only know one Hulk. And it's She-Hulk. It's our very, very, very young audience.
Very young. They don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to end this. Maybe if we do the live Houston screening, like a Q&A thing,
Yeah. A live finale.
a live finale.
We have a lot of time to plan it. We are only on minute 35.
I know. I thought about this too. I'm like, wow, man, we still have the majority of the movie to get through.
Yeah, we're not close. There might not even be movie theaters by the time we finish. It's not looking good.
But what's great is there's good news on a local Houston front that we're going to jump in minute 35. The famous River Oaks Theater. See, that's how you know I'm
Yes.
from the South, because I just said theater.
Theater.
The famous River Oaks Theater is being restored and renovated. It should be open within a year.
Okay, take your time.
Which would be, this place is great. I did a small movie a few years ago, and they showed it. The premiere was at the River Oaks Theater.
Oh, cool.
And this was a big deal for me because that's like the movie. That was the place in the 50s when this movie took place.
See, it all comes back, everybody. You think they're tangents. It's color.
It's color. We're adding context. Now,
Yeah.
what sticks out to you?
Speaking of colors,
Did you notice the
let's
red
talk
on the back of the
Miss
car?
Scarlet and Mr. Green and Colonel Mustard and
Oh, there you go.
Mrs. Peacock. Yeah, they're all colors.
So, what did you?
Minute 35.
What sticks out to you?
I like it's Mr. Green's second. I didn't do it. We didn't comment in on it last week, but he did say his first. I
Yes.
didn't do it, and we get the second one. This one, Wadsworth is missing at the beginning of the kitchen scene when they all say only the cook, and we have that great shot of them running through the hallway. But once they get in, Wadsworth, who you would think would be leading the way, like this way to the kitchen, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that reminds me. We have to talk about the cook because we did get that email that showed the novelization.
Yes.
We have to talk about that.
We will get there.
We haven't talked about that in weeks, and we're way overdue. But Wadsworth is not the one that leads them to the kitchen. It's the suspects that come in, and it's Mr. Green actually that begins the investigation, which is so funny because when he goes in the billiard room, he's the one that looks behind the door when Yvette says the murderer is here. So he's also the one that leads the way into the kitchen and looks everywhere except for actually doesn't open anything. He just kind of looks around and comes to the conclusion that there's no one there. And then somehow gravity finally kicks in and the cook must be leaning on the door, the refrigerator door somehow.
Yeah, she's like
And
propped up against
pushes it open. What if they hadn't like figured out that the cook was still there at that time? Would they have just heard a thud?
They would have.
Because I don't think they didn't do anything to make that door open.
Now, given our forensics of each scene and situation that we've gotten to at this point, I think that it's obvious if you watch this movie with a microscope that Wadsworth killed the cook. And like if you were to watching it to this point,
Right.
if you're watching with a microscope, he's the only one who disappears for any amount of time
Yes.
so far, except for, well, Mrs. Peacock
Yvette.
and Yvette. They're the three
Right.
suspects. So if we're playing the game, the board game, our three suspects right now have to be Wadsworth, Mrs. Peacock, and Yvette.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in every ending, Yvette is bad. So it makes sense that if Yvette and Wadsworth are in cahoots, one of my favorite words,
Great word.
the fact that they both say only the cook at the same time, what teamwork to get everybody out of the room where dead Mr. Body is, quote unquote, and discover the dead body of the cook who's about to fall out of that freezer. So they better get in there quick. But they lead the way. And then, Wadsworth stays behind. And, Mrs. Peacock was gone in the scene where they discovered
Yvette in the billiard
room. So, you're right. That's when she could have done it.
Yeah.
Especially if she figured out that was her cook.
And I'm looking back right now. So who else is in the house? The cook, Yvette and Wadsworth. Yeah, the first two. And then Wadsworth not there. Yeah, Wadsworth not there.
He appears, you can see his tie behind Miss Scarlet when she screams.
So she screams at a certain point.
He's not really part of the conversation in the next minute until he says, we need to keep the kitchen tidy.
Okay, and here she goes here. So she screams.
I didn't do it.
Wait, where did she scream? Did I miss it? I missed the scream.
When the cook falls out.
Oh, there you go. Yes, you can. Is that him?
I think so.
Or is that Mr. Plum? Or is that Professor Plum? Because look, he's got
it's a long tie.
It's a long tie, but however, look, it looks
Professor
like
Plum has a bow tie.
Oh, that's true. Oh, so is this Colonel Mustard? Look, this is a. I don't know. Oh, can you see this? No, you can't see what I'm looking at. There's a pocket square in the breast pocket of the suited gentleman, which leads me to
what color is it?
Well, let's look here. I'm going to share you the screen right now so you can see this forensics that we're looking at. Do you see this?
Yes. That's Wadsworth.
That is. I don't think that's.
No,
Wadsworth.
maybe not. Maybe not. That might be Mustard. It's hard. Yeah, because he looks too heavy.
Yeah, he looks a little heavy in the middle, and then it's is a pocket
dark.
Square.
Yeah, it's dark. You're right. That is Mustard. And there's Mrs. White still holding the rope.
Still holding the rope.
Good on you, Miss Madeline Kahn, with your continuity.
Look at that continuity. And we are establishing that Wadsworth not there. Now, perhaps. We're going to get to that here in a second. Now, here's the other thing that stands out to me. First off, Michael McKean, strong. Right?
Yeah.
Strong. Because the cook, not a light lady. And I'm not trying to be mean, but definitely has some extra lubs on her.
Facts are facts.
Facts are facts. She's got some extra lubs on her. So those are LBS pounds.
A sign of a good cook.
Yes. Hey, high off your own supply. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But Michael McKean definitely is able to prop this lady up for a good minute.
For a while.
For a good minute. And then has a slow descent. A slow descent to the
even harder, using those legs.
Yes. How impressive!
Somebody help me, please. Good grunting too.
Yes. Now, did you ask him about his strength? Did that come up?
No, I failed on so many questions, and that was definitely one of them. I should have asked, what was it like holding the cook? Because I would assume that this is not the kind of movie like the new Guardians of the Galaxy where they had a dummy of Star-Lord to carry. I'm assuming that is if not the actual actress, it's somebody padded up to be that size.
Which there's still some.
I don't know. Do we get a look at the face? Do we know if it's the actual?
I think it is
cook?
The actual cook the whole time. I believe.
Not a stunt. Because later in the movie they do use stunt doubles.
Okay, look.
In high definition, it's very clear.
I mean, if that is a dummy,
I didn't do it.
It's a really convincing one. Maybe it is.
Somebody help me, please.
I don't know if they could make it realistic. Well, I guess they could. If movies like The Thing and everything back then had molds and things. But they've gone through all the trouble.
I don't know. I think that might actually be the cook. I would be surprised if they went all the way.
Yeah. But a lot of pressure on Michael McKean.
A lot of pressure.
Hey, she's going to fall. Catch her.
That's a one-taker.
Take 9.
That's
Take
a one-taker.
10.
That's a one-taker. That's a one-taker. There's no way they did more than one take of that.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Because he nailed it.
And a good scream by Miss Scarlet, which I believe is the same scream that we hear Yvette do earlier. And then when they do the recap later in the movie, it's actually the exact same shot. And you could tell because everyone's in the background in the same spot and she's holding a cigarette, which she is in this scene, but later in the movie she's not. But all of a sudden she has the cigarette.
Well, we'll get to that. All right,
Oh, we will?
don't be the person like, in class who's like ahead of the teacher, you know?
Who's the teacher?
Well, in this scenario, it's the audience.
Oh,
Not me, the audience.
no.
Now, here's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Miss Scarlett makes reference to the chair.
We'll all go to the chair.
We'll all go to the chair. Now, I know this might seem obvious as to what the chair is. I think we all know it's the electric chair. But you know what I didn't know until just now?
Uh-oh.
I
What'd you look up?
I Googled it. Because
Electric chair as form of capital punishment?
right, stopped in the state of Texas in 1964, and I believe we're the last ones to hold on to it. So the only real way of capital punishment for a long time, for a lot of people, was the electric chair. In Texas, do you want to know what we call the electric chair?
Yep.
The Texas electric chair was nicknamed Old Sparky and was in use from 1924 to 1964. During that time, the deaths of 361 prisoners were by judicial electrocution. That's
They
crazy.
only had one chair?
We had the chair, Old Sparky.
Just one chair.
One chair.
And for the whole state of Texas?
One chair. Yeah.
So if they were far away from, like, where was the chair? Which
It's in
city?
Huntsville, Texas, which is where
Where's
the prison is.
Huntsville?
It's where the prison is. It's
There's only one prison in all of Texas?
not one, but it's the main prison.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There's Texas Department of Corrections, and my wife is peering in. Do you want to say something on the air? That'd be fun. That'd be a nice little cameo. Do you want to just say hello? You got to come closer. People can't hear you. And then
Hi,
you
I'm Jeff. Nice to meet
and
you.
can you wave hi to Jeff? You can come wave hi to Jeff.
I've
Listeners,
never met
this is a
Brad's wife
treat.
before.
This is a treat. Jeff's never met my wife. This is my
No.
lovely wife,
Oh,
Farrah.
hi.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Farrah. Nice to meet you.
He said nice to meet you.
You as well. I could hear
I
you
did,
over the
yes.
microphone.
I had Farrah.
You can hear me.
Oh, okay. I had her listen to Clue the Movie podcast, but she was a little lost, right? We were talking about a bunch
you
of people.
seen
You're like,
Clue?
I don't know who these people are you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's when we were talking about the credits, like the names in the credits. The very first
Oh.
episode.
Oh,
Well,
we've gotten
yeah,
much
no.
better than the first episode.
She's out. I put her on
That's
the spot.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to her. Love you.
Oh, now we can
Oh.
say we had a guest.
She wants to say what time the dinner starts. In about.
Oh, excellent.
I'll text you. How about that? Okay. Sorry about that. We got off on a tangent.
That's it. No, it's called guest star.
That was a guest. That's a cameo.
Now we can advertise.
That's a cameo. We have a cameo
Yeah.
from Houston
Right.
Realtress, Farrah Gilmore. No, but you know what? You can actually go. This I know. There's a museum in Huntsville next to the prison. It's the Texas Prison Museum. And you
Oh.
can go and see the actual Old Sparky.
Yeah.
You can see it,
That's
which
dark.
it's so crazy.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's very crazy. I would not want to go do that.
There's other things to do in Texas, right?
Yes, there's a ton.
Right.
There's a ton.
the Alamo.
Alamo's a good one.
Yeah. Austin. Stay weird.
Yeah, Austin's great. You know, we got a lot of great food and a lot of good art here in Houston. A lot of great
San
art.
Antonio.
We have a great museum system here in Houston. Very great. Top
Oh,
notch museum system here in Houston. So there's other things that you can do. So that was the chair. They haven't done that since 64. Can you believe it? Doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Huh. When did wasn't there a Wes Craven horror movie called Shocker? I don't know if that took place in the 60s.
I don't know.
It was about a killer that was electrocuted, but he did not die. And it only made him stronger. Shocker.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know,
Probably based on a true story.
in The Green Mile by Stephen
Yeah,
King and
that's
its
the other
film
one.
adaptation, they use Old Sparky. They call it Old Sparky in the movie. So there you have it. That is
Look
what
it
you
up,
call
Shocker.
a dark tangent. We just took a big left turn talking about electrocution methods for capital punishment. Now the other thing that stands out is, what are you looking up? You're looking something up?
I was looking up Shocker to see if it was a period piece. It came out in 1989, but and I think I said it's Wes Craven. Yeah, it is Wes Craven. But it's about, the synopsis is, after being sent to the electric chair, a serial killer uses electricity to come back from the dead and carry out his vengeance on the football player who turned him in to the police.
I actually like that.
He is a murderous TV repairman.
Now, have we talked about, we did talk a little bit about Kelly Nakahara, right? AKA Mrs. Ho, the cook. We talked about her. Did we go through her IMDb?
Well, we know she was most famous from MASH.
Right.
But now would be an excellent time. So since I am on IMDb looking up Shocker.
Yeah, look, she was in 7 episodes of Bible Man. I'm just kidding. How great would that have been?
See, it would be serendipity.
It would be awesome. Someone in this cast had to.
Do you want to talk about, while I look this up, the email we got about the novelization?
Yes. Okay. So Jeff, I think, was it an email, or what? Did someone hit us on Twitter? It may have been a Twitter thing.
It might have been Twitter, yeah.
So we were the novelization of Clue, which I've never read. I read some of the Back to the Future novelizations. I just not as big of a fan of a novelization, to be honest with you.
It's a collector's item. It is very expensive if you
The
want
Clue
to
novelization
track one down. Yeah.
Is very expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
I'm going to check on eBay just to see.
I'm trying to find it. Here we go. So this was from Steve Tanner at Tannerman on Twitter. Great handle. Said, I was rereading the Clue novelization during a flight today. First of all, biggest flex in that sentence. I was rereading the Clue novelization, which the Clue novelization, how much does that cost, you say?
Well, I'm looking at eBay right now, and it's not even here. So even if you wanted to get it, you couldn't. But I know it's in the hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars. He said during a flight today, which is also swag.
Taking a flight, and he's taking a book from 1985 that is worth hundreds, potentially damaging it. Perhaps he has more than one copy, and this is his
reread
flying across country.
And he's rereading
version and rereading it.
How incredible is that?
Yeah.
What a flex, Steve
humble
Tanner.
brag.
Super. Didn't even realize what he was doing right there. And then he said, per, which is also another swaggy thing to say, per your previous discussions, not even conversations. I love this, man. He's getting a follow right now. This is me live following Steve Tanner, who does not follow me, by the way, but I'm following him now. Per your previous discussions about quote unquote blocking the cook, the book literally spells it out. And he uses the word literally correctly, by the way. And let me read the whole page here. This is page 25.
Because he takes a picture of it, and I believe it's even highlighted.
Yeah. Oh, he did that with his screenshot.
He went to the trouble
of highlighting
to highlight it. So we wouldn't be like, where?
Wait a minute. You know what? Steve Tannerman, he gets our Great Scott moment of the week. Can I get a Great Scott?
Great Scott!
Great, Steven.
Ah, great. So this is the Michael McDowell novelization, page 25. I'm going to read the paragraph prior to the highlighted selection. Either she was hungry or the smells tempted her too greatly, or perhaps she forgot her breeding. Whatever that means. Whatever the reason, Mrs. Peacock began to eat before everyone was quite served. Delicious, she said. This is one of my favorite recipes. She glanced toward the hatch into the kitchen with a smile for the invisible cook. But Wadsworth, perhaps deliberately, but perhaps only reaching for the decanter, blocked Mrs. Peacock's view of the pass-through. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Great Scott. Also, decanter.
Decanter came back
Which
up.
is a word we had trouble with.
Yes.
And I got an email as well or maybe it was just a comment on Twitter that said, decanter, I couldn't think of it either.
Well, good. I'm glad someone went through that journey with us
Yeah.
of not being able to figure it out.
I like to imagine they were going through, like, in their car, going, what is the word? And then feeling that sweet relief. So, yeah, Steven, thanks, man.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Went
Steve
through a lot
Tanner.
of trouble. We appreciate it.
We really do, man. That was really cool. Steve Tanner. Give him a follow at Tannerman on Twitter. Yes. So you looked up. Did you look up Kelly?
Oh, yeah. So Kelly, let me get off of you.
I'm looking here. So
Kelly Nakahara, her first acting job was on in 1975 on Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
My God, this is one of my favorite shows ever. Have you ever seen Kolchak?
No.
You, Jeff Smith, would love Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Okay.
It's about a
It's probably streaming
newspaper.
on something.
It's on Prime, I believe.
Is that Darren McGavin?
Yes.
The dad from A Christmas Story, and also uncredited in one of my favorite movies, The Natural.
So he plays a newspaper reporter who investigates like paranormal activities and stuff like that.
Okay. She plays a lecture guest.
I don't remember
In one
that
episode.
specific role.
Okay.
But I love Kolchak, the Night Stalker. I suggest everybody go watch it.
Excellent. So that was 1975. She took a break, came back in 82
Damn.
for an episode of Little House on the Prairie, where she played Japanese woman.
Okay.
After that, she was on 169 episodes of MASH
Jeez.
as Lieutenant Kelly Yamato.
How long did MASH run for? It's like forever.
From 73 to 83, 10 years.
Wow.
It was longer than the actual war.
Yes. That was the
Then she was in two episodes of a show called At Ease, which is another military show. Then she was on an episode of Matt Houston,
Never heard of it.
which was kind of like very similar to Magnum PI, another mustached hero, but lesser than.
Great name.
She was on a show called Lottery in 1984, and I believe I did see that show. It was about two lottery representatives that went around the country finding winners, people that won the lottery. It'd be their stories. The 80s were big on those kind of like a Highway to Heaven or that kind of show where it would be a couple guys just traveling and they'd meet new people on their journey.
Oh, so it was
That
a
was
scripted
Lottery.
show, though.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
These are all scripted back then. She was one episode of a show called Otherworld in 85. Don't know that one. Hunter, a show I have heard of, but never saw. She played Mrs. Kim. In 1985, she was in a little movie called Clue
Okay.
as
Now-
Mrs. Ho, the cook.
Did she have anything that's of note after
Clue?
Like, what are some big titles we might have heard her in?
She's having a baby, which
She's
is a
Having
John Hughes
Baby.
movie.
Yes, we know this one.
She was in Amazon Women on the Moon, which is a John Landis production. She was uncredited, but she was only in the TV version, it says.
Never heard of it.
Shattered, which is a Wolfgang Peterson movie from 1991. That's
clue.
very, very good. No clue. She was an episode of Growing Pains. She was in Three Ninjas Kick Back.
Great movie.
That might be in your
That's in my wheelhouse, yes.
I thought so.
Not as good as
94.
Three Ninjas, High Noon, and Mega Mountain, which stars Hulk Hogan, but continue.
Hulk Hogan, and it's at Magic Mountain from Southern California. Dream On was an excellent show. She was on that in 95. That was one of HBO's first shows. John Landis was a producer of that. Michael McKean was on that show.
Okay, so we see a Clue connection there.
Yeah. She was in the Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle
Okay, that's a good role.
as a Beagle Woman.
Okay.
And she did an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch in 99. And then she was a voice on the Wild Thornberries
Great show.
in 2000.
And that was it?
And she passed away in 2020 at age 72.
2020, 72, young age for
Yeah.
nowadays, right?
So she was still with us when I started making the documentary, but never was able to pin her down. Originally from Oahu, Hawaii.
Ah, great place. Well,
She died in Pasadena.
okay. Well, there you go. Now you know a little bit more about Kelly Nakahara, the person who played Clue, the chef in Clue, Mrs. Ho.
Mrs.
Did she do the convention like circuit? Was she ever at like Clue? Like, you know,
No, there
has a
really
booth
hasn't
for Clue,
been a
huh?
Clue convention circuit. The actors do other things based on what they're known for, but it's usually not Clue. Like Tim Curry does stuff, but it's probably more for Rocky Horror.
Mm-hmm.
And Christopher Lloyd, obviously, for Back to the Future.
You know, Martin Mull does a
Pretty much
lot
it.
for Jingle All the Way.
Does he?
No,
That'd be awesome.
that'd be great. I would love it. He was
Or Roseanne.
He's-
Actually, you know what? Jeffrey Kramer does a lot of conventions. He's the motorist, but primarily because he was in Jaws.
Oh, well, that might get a little bit of a wider net, cast a wider net.
And then Lee Ving, Jaws, so to speak.
So to speak.
And then Lee Ving is still touring with his band, Fear. So that's where you can see him.
Okay, well, look at that. Anything more on minute 35?
It looked like they were going to have pie later. There's a pie on the island.
There is a
I
pie on
noticed.
the island. Was there
Yeah.
anything else in the fridge that we could see? No, right? Just Mrs.
We're distracted by Mrs. Ho. The scene is about to get really good, though, because this is going to be a wonderful exchange with Mrs. White and Colonel Mustard. And it's one of Madeline Kahn's finest moments in the entire movie.
I think there's a piece of hanging meat in the
Okay.
refrigerator, is what it
And you're
looks
not
like.
referring to Mrs. Ho.
No, I'm not. That would be very
Good.
mean. That'd be very mean. So, okay, we'll get into minute 36, and we'll just see whatever else is there other than the incredible strength of Michael McKean.
Mr. Green. Yeah.
Yes. Well, until next time, Jeff Smith, Brad Gilmore, Clue the Movie Podcast. We'll be back next week with minute 36.
Who will walk in on that episode? I can't wait to find out.
Oh, yes, we had a surprise intro. We'll find out next week, minute 36 of Clue the Movie Podcast.